Hello, happy Tuesday. It is me, Amy from Precision Pilates. I wanted to address an issue that's been coming up a lot, especially now that we've been doing more reformer on mat and sitting in crisscross or tailor sit, or the old school Indian style, which we're not allowed to say anymore. So there's a bunch of reasons why our hips hurt when we sit in Indian style or crisscross, and there is a lot of reasons why some people can't even get into this position. It has to do with hip tightness, and it has to do with how the femur or the thigh bone and the ball and socket hit in the joint. One of the biggest things that causes tight hips are glute clenchers. So I want you guys to start thinking about when you're standing around at your kitchen counter, you're just doing everyday activities. Notice what you're doing with your butt. Squeeze it really tight and then relax it. And then you'll notice if you are having problems sitting crisscross that probably you're like, oh wow, my butt feels nice and relaxed. So be mindful of glute clenching all the time, because what happens is those that glute clenching really tightens those deep hip rotators, which then pull on the bones of our thighs, which then pull our bone joints forward into the hip socket more versus sitting deep into the hip joint. So what happens then when we sit crisscross, we often have pinching and tightness in the back. You can't even get your legs out. Oftentimes I see people sitting up like this, and that's because they're glute clenching all the time and have really, really super tight hips. So think about your hip as a ball, and it's sitting in the socket. So now if your hip rotators are really tight, that hip joint slides forward more in the hip joint. So when we go to bring those knees out and rotate forward, but that's the normal action, they're already sitting forward, so there's no way for them to go. And that's why we feel pinching. So that is one of the reasons why we can't sit crisscross without having pain or discomfort. I'm going to be showing you some exercises this week to try to get that hip to sit back further, and some ways to get those butt muscles or glutes or deep hip rotators to relax. Thanks, guys. I'll see you again tomorrow.